I went up to go and do the Christmas lights on the house and slipped off the ladder and fell.
I heard the ladder fall and I heard Brian screaming and I went running out there.
I no longer have feeling or use of my legs from the waist down.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Professor Parks, and today I get the pleasure of finally getting to hang out with Brian and Claire Campbell. I was in the hospital with these guys in the rehab program at Hamilton General, and it was to say the least a journey for both Brian and I. And because we're pretty close in age, we got to be pretty close to kind of, I don't know, it seemed like, compared to a lot of the other people in rehab, it seemed like me and Brian were very close in age until the younger girl had come. Like, we were really, like, it seemed like the only people that I could relate to. You know what I mean? Brian seemed like the only guy I felt like I could talk to for the first little while. And like, even in the gym, like, I felt like he was sort of the same size as me to a point. Like, he's bigger than me, but I felt like, okay, if he's lifting hard, I should be lifting hard too. That's how I always saw that. And like, almost like a healthy competition with Brian all the time. And like, that's, growing up playing sports, I always looked for stuff like that. I looked for, like, even with my best friends, I would play baseball and I'd be like, well, he's pitching harder, I need to pitch harder, you know, how do I do this, stuff like that. And like, it's just healthy competition, so I love that type of stuff. And like, you've gotten big, bro. Like, you look good, bro. Like, and I filled out too. Like, I filled right out because I, coming out of the hospital, was really skinny and like could barely even, like, I use this thing all the time just to make sure I strengthen my grip, and I couldn't even squeeze this thing, let alone lift a 20-pound weight, right? So I'm just happy with where I've come from. So
it's amazing though. But like, with from when I got into the hospital to the time I started rehab with you, I had lost probably about 35 to almost 40 pounds.
Same, man, same.
Put it on during COVID.
I may have put that back on.
That's the COVID's fault. We're full COVID weight, COVID cookies, COVID cravings. It's all out here, right? COVID snacks. Otherwise,
but I love that Brandon thinks that you're in the same kind of age bracket. How old are you, Brandon?
I'm 28.
Oh, see?
How old are you, Brian?
44.
44. Honestly, when I'm sitting here thinking at you, I don't look at 44. I've seen 35 between the both of you. And
I love you.
And like I said, like, it's a lot of these people in the rehab program were much older than we are. Like, think about that. I mean, a lot of these people were like, had diabetes or something like that, had like leg amputations, or very rarely was it with my situation where I had Guillain-Barré autoimmune disease. You had broken your back, right? Falling off of you're doing lights, right?
Yeah. Well,
tell me about that. Tell me about that.
Pretty classic story of how it happened, like, very cliche, really. The ironically enough, I had a vasectomy 5 days before, so I was really bored just doing nothing, and so I decided, well, you know what? Okay, it's November, it's fine. I'll go put the Christmas lights up. Yeah, and so I fell off the roof of my garage.
The actual roof? Like, I thought, when I sit here and think about it, I think that you're on a ladder and the thing just goes, ah! Like, is that happening?
Well, it was kind of like that. I mean, I was on the roof of the garage, but then I was stepping back onto the ladder because I had forgotten something, and then the little, because it was an extension ladder, so the two halves of the ladder kind of slipped a little bit together, which caused a little bit of a bounce wave inside the ladder, and then I went flying off the top. And
was it icy that day? It was cold.
No, it was cold, but it wasn't icy.
November is pretty cold, man. What? Yeah, how high? Two stories at least.
Well, it was about 15 feet.
Yeah.
Fuck. So you landed right on your back or on your neck? How did this work? You remember?
Pretty much like right on my shoulders, like right on my shoulder blades. But then what happened was my whole lower body just kind of flipped over in half, and that's what caused the break in my my vertebrae and ruptured my spinal cord.
So you gave yourself a little diaper hole kind of thing. You folded yourself.
Sorry?
So like you folded backwards almost.
Yeah,
like
when I hit the ground, my feet went up over my head, above my head, and that's what basically caused the injury.
And you were saying the car, Claire, if he had fallen...
If he had fallen the other direction, he would have gone right through the car or onto the concrete, but you fell onto the grass. And unlucky enough, didn't hit your head on the concrete steps that were right there. But I was inside and I heard the ladder like come crashing down, and then just heard Brian screaming. I was oh.
So you came out running and freaking out, obviously, called the ambulance. And how did that all kind of handle? You guys go right to general from the start?
Yeah,
it was,
right to the general.
Because we were in Waterdown, so it was like, so we were in the hospital, or in the ambulance and straight to the general.
Yeah, and it took about 3 or 4 firefighters and the 2 paramedics to get him into the ambulance. And I was in the front, and I could hear them, like, they were ripping his clothes off trying to get to him, and he's just screaming, I can't feel. You were screaming the whole time in pain, but you couldn't. You were saying, I can't feel my legs
right away, right from the start.
I knew as soon as I hit the ground that something was. I mean, that I had done something, because I mean, my legs went like white hot, and then there was nothing.
Wow. So I can't even believe you didn't knock yourself out, and the fact that you're just waiting for all this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was conscious the whole time. It would actually probably would have been a whole lot worse if I had knocked myself out, because then
you wouldn't have been able to kind of relate what was going on, sort of, to the ambulance. Is that what you're saying?
Much, yeah.
I don't know. There was a lot of screaming, and I've never seen Brian like that before. You know, he's my big, strong,
tough guy. Yeah.
So it was very, very scary seeing him like that.
My God. So
put you in the recovery position, and before I called the ambulance, I got a blanket and put it over you, because
it was cold.
Shivering and shocked.
It was,
Yeah.
So you went to the hospital, went to surgery. What was the surgery? What did they end up doing to you? Like putting braces in?
Well, they ended up fusing a couple of vertebrae together and putting in some pins and all that good stuff.
5-hour surgery.
Okay.
Which I still haven't heard from my surgeon.
Yeah, he said the surgeon said he came out and talked to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Brian's surgeon now, and I'll be around for a very long time, and in and out your lives, and
I've never seen him again.
But it was it was a long stretch, and also then the number of MRIs and
you had so many
scans
complications after. Of digestive complications, didn't you?
Yeah, because I mean, I woke up from surgery, but my bowels didn't. So
yes.
Constipated for like 2.5 weeks.
I can totally feel that, man. I was paralyzed when I woke up out of my coma. They had put me in a induced coma because I was manic when I went to the hospital. So they put me into a induced coma to run all of those tests, the MRIs, they did spinal tap on me, and just to find out where the elevated white blood cell, where this fucking inflammation is, kind of thing. And when I woke up, I was totally messed up on drugs. They had every single painkiller in me, and I didn't shit for like 5 to 7 days. I was constipated, I was hurting, and like you said, I couldn't feel my bowel, bladder, nothing. And I was paralyzed from here at the start, and it sort of kind of had to recover. I was paralyzed from the neck down. Like I woke up out of the coma sort of like messed up. I couldn't move anything. And
did you move your arms?
No. I like woke up like this. I woke up like this, and for a long time my arms stayed like this, and like my doctors were trying to make sure they weren't falling or like in weird positions. Like for a long time, when I was able to lift my arm up, my hand wouldn't come with it, right? So my arm would go, my hand wouldn't come, and they're like, okay, so we got to put a brace under there to make sure that doesn't stay like that, right? And I would feel that pain. I'm like, oh man, I'm trying to stretch that back, trying to figure that out. And until all that came back, I was on a lot of painkillers, man, a long time trying to figure out that.
Was that when you weren't in the general at first?
I was at the Joseph Brant Hospital in Burlington there for a little while.
But see, when we saw you in the general, you never know what everyone's going through, do you?
It's crazy.
And see each other in and out the halls. You never know what everyone's situation is.
Yeah.
It's interesting that some of us, quite a few of us from rehab, have stayed quite close and kept. It becomes like your family in the end.
It is, absolutely. Like
especially for us spouses.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine for the spouses towards even like what you were saying with Mike and his wife, just like being able to relate to her, and I don't even
Lauren's mum. I got really close to
the Redwoods.
We had a few cries together.
Yeah, they're good people, man. They're great, nice individual. People. Yeah. Where do they live? They live.
Brampton, I think.
No,
Bradford. Sorry, I always get them.
Right, Brantford. Yeah. Out in the boonies there. Out in the boonies. That's awesome, man. So when you went to surgery, you went through surgery. You were in hospital all together. How long you were in hospital for? General.
In the general, it was only in the general for like, because I went in November 20th, and I was
December 10th. You moved over to rehab.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Just before Christmas is when I moved over to the rehab center.
So on 6 West.
Yeah.
It's a couple of different
dark and depressing place.
That was a very
I heard terrible things about West.
Very dark times. Those few weeks there. I mean, you were in a couple of different wards. You finally got a private room, and
But yeah, it was there was there was some pretty interesting, especially like late at night when when like nobody else around. Like you hear folks in the dementia ward.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, you had one in your ward, didn't you? That wouldn't shut up.
Well, no, they kept calling for help, and I'm just like, okay, so I kept hitting my phone.
Help this fucking guy, the lady.
And then they sent somebody in like, we're very aware. We're not ignoring her.
Yeah.
We got labeled the superhero family when we were in 6 West, because it was both like literally a week after Brian's accident. It was our daughter's 7th birthday and our son's 1st birthday a week after that.
I was just talking to Brian, like,
so
he was so young
while Brian was in hospital, and one of them had a superhero theme, so we all turned up dressed in our superhero costumes.
That's hilarious.
And all the patients there just loved it, and we got labeled here come the superhero family.
That's awesome.
Known as that for the whole time.
That's fun. That's fun, man. It makes things a lot easier just to kind of like anything to get your mind off things, right?
Oh yeah, our son took his first steps in the hospital.
I remember seeing him very young, very, very young, and kind of walking around the halls and stuff like that, and everybody saying hi.
Once he got going,
he wouldn't stop. Yeah.
The nurses were all chasing him. Yeah. And then he'd be sitting on the floor and picking things up off the hospital floor.
Yeah, so funny. Yeah, when I go back to, it's weird because a lot of people talk about when they go back to hospitals how it's an eerie place, or if they haven't even been to a hospital, how they just don't like going. I find it really weird because I don't mind it. I feel comfortable at a hospital, if that makes any sense.
The rehab is very different to a hospital though, wasn't it?
Right, it was so different. The
staff were amazing.
Yeah, it was totally different. It was brighter. I mean, light-wise, everything was brighter, and then just attitude-wise, it was a great.
That little TV lunchroom.
There was like a society little area.
Chat with all the others.
Yeah, the game night.
And the staff, like, oh my god, because you got this, like, you know, when you're in a different hospital, you have so many shift workers, but with the rehab, you see the same people all the time, and even now, like, we're all in touch. I know that you are too.
Yeah, I still talk to some of the staff.
Nurses, Joey, and they were just, they were fantastic.
Yeah, great people, amazing people. When you were there, like the physio team was great too. I like the outpatient team, like when you were doing the outpatient team. Like, have you been able to recover more since all this physio at all? Like, you have a sort of a set area of recovery when it comes to.
I kind of plateaued after, well, essentially, really, while I was still in hospital, and then we just nothing really, no feeling or anything, rather sensation or even mobility or anything like that, ever came back. So, yeah, it was just kind of that was it, kind of one and done.
You know what? And it's easier that way. It's almost easier just to be like, I know that this is it. Here we go. Let's live our life this way. Let's not expect anything else. We hope for the best, but expect the worst, sort of thing, right? Like that's, I don't know. That's sort of.
And it's
we're playing for the worst. Playing for the worst. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes things. It does make. You're absolutely right. It does make things a lot easier. Mentally, to be able to say, okay, well, I know where the upper ceiling is, so I can kind of do everything that I can all around.
Exactly. There's a long point.
There's no real going past it.
There was a long point in time where when I was out of hospital, because I was still getting small recovery, that I was just hoping and praying, and there was probably, like I said, a year after the hospital, I didn't get anything. I plateaued probably 2 months after out of the hospital, and I hadn't gotten anything since. So I've been able to just be like, okay, you know what, Brandon, focus on getting yourself stronger. Like I said, the little things, being able to transfer by yourself without this, you know, being able to take off a railing here, like, I don't need that railing anymore. You know, I'm getting stronger now. I don't need that. The day that I finally picked myself off the ground to the chair, I fucking lost it. I was like, yes, like that's the most independent thing ever. If I'm out in the middle of the fucking, I can't even tell you how many times I've hit a rock skateboard style and flown forward and been like, oh my god, like, right? So you gotta get yourself up.
I dumped you out your chair, didn't I?
Yeah, tell me about that. Shit happens.
We did a 5K for spinal cord in the October. So Brian came out of rehab in the February and did 8 months more of outpatients physio. Yeah. And then in the October, we did a 5K with a team of friends. So Brian wheeled it and I attempted to run it.
Do you guys call yourself the Rolling Thunder? This is the team.
Yes.
This is the team.
So we did that. And then as we walked back to the car, so tired from wheeling, I said, oh, I'll push you, and I dumped him up a curb and he came flying out.
Yes
not
all the way out of my chair. Mostly, but not all.
Exhausted after this 5K fucking push walk. You know what, I've met a couple people actually that have been doing like 5K, 10K. This guy wants to do a triathlon in his chair, swimming. These are nuts. These are nuts individuals that have taken what they have to a whole nother level.
What are you doing this year?
What are you doing this year?
I don't know if I'm going to.
He's committed to doing the 10K this year. We've done the 10K 3 years in a row.
Yeah, the strides for the general.
Yeah, so we did the first year, we did it for spinal cord injury, and then the last 2 years we did strides for the general. So that was for the general hospital where you guys were. Yeah. But this year he's doing the 10K. I am not, because I'm doing the 5K.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping once I get some tweaks done on my chair, I can get out and do a bit of training, because it's been difficult at the moment. But so I mean, like, we live like right next to the beach path, so I mean, like, that to go. That's just a one long ribbon of asphalt. That can just
perfect.
We met another guy in a chair called Brian, who's in his 60s, and he does like 10K 3 times a week up and down that path. I think he was quite an influence for you.
Pretty inspirational, man. Pretty inspirational. Those guys in his 60s doing that.
Well, this guy has also been in a chair since he was, what, 18?
Yeah.
Something like that.
He's now in his 60s. But, oh my God, he's so fit and healthy, and he chats to everyone, knows everyone.
And he's... his level of injury is pretty high, but it's because he doesn't have a lot of his core. But yeah, just
he strap himself like to his chair, like he kind of has a strap.
Not even really. I mean, like, he's just in his chair, like some dude in like jeans and a t-shirt.
So Brian got donated a power chair by a family member.
Oh, that's killer.
Which is amazing. So like when the kids and I go bike riding, we were like, oh, perfect, Brian can join us and get out there with us. And he's done a few times. But this guy told him off and said, you're a young guy, you shouldn't be using that. You should
power chair.
I
called you out. That's so funny. Yeah. So Rolling Thunder is a team. Like, I wasn't too sure if you guys called yourself like a...
I nicknamed him that when we were in the hospital.
Okay.
When I saw him, like, you know, seeing him in 6 West and being in quite a low place and not being able to even get up in the chair because of blood pressure and issues and stuff. And then when we got over to rehab, something just switched in him, and he would like be buzzing around the hospital all upbeat, and like I was like, whoa! I remember I was walking in the hospital one day, be like, whoa, look at you, Rolling Thunder, and it just stuck.
Yeah.
So when we did a team, that's what we named it, and we had a logo design for it. And everything.
I like it. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So one of the things that kind of came from that is also we developed a golf tournament to go for the May of 2019. Was the first year we did this golf tournament in with Spinal Cord Injury of Ontario as the beneficiary.
Amazing.
Let's back that up a bit. One of the first things Brian said to me when he woke up from surgery was, I'm never going to be able to play golf.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things he thought of.
Hashtag priorities.
Yeah. But Now, he came out of hospital in the February. In the May, he was out playing golf again in what's called
the caddy, right? It's a cripple caddy.
Solo
rider.
Solo rider.
A solo rider. I like cripple caddy. I like cripple caddy, but
yeah. So he's able to play, and it's amazing, and not too many people know about it. So we wanted to raise awareness.
I want to do it.
Being able to play golf.
I want to do it. I wanted to do it last year, but I didn't have the strength that I have now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
there's like 10 or maybe 10 or 12 of these things in Southern Ontario around. There's one in Niagara. There's the at the Flamborough Hills is like the course that I play at. They've got one.
And there's
really
one at the
Hamilton City
us,
courses.
They?
Yeah,
they were amazing at that golf course because they helped us put together the golf tournament.
What? No way.
Sponsored us. They were great.
That's awesome, man. So I'm glad that you did play golf. Get to play golf again. I remember when I was coming out of the hospital, I was like, okay, the things I can do, one being golf. There's like basketball, you can do like rugby. There's all different types of sports and shit like that. Yeah.
Whatever you put your mind to, if you know the resources and where to find them.
Yeah, I've seen people like doing hiking and stuff like that. You get those big tires and you kind of go with it and see what's going on, right? Like,
we're looking into that right now.
I would mind getting some big tires and going for a hike, seeing what's going on out there, right?
There's one that it was on Marketplace. I saw a dude selling a power chair with tank treads.
Okay, so you know what's crazy is I'm not 100% sure. So I saw you post that, and there is a person that a friend of mine who just recently passed away, and he had a chair so similar to that tank chair, and they would take him hunting, they would take him like fishing and all these dope things in this fucking tank wheelchair, man. Like treads, Dude, if I had that, it is sky's the limit.
We want to get him on the beach with us and the kids. We had a thing all last summer, and then we raised awareness about that, and ended up getting a wheelchair path on the beach here.
Right by you guys. You guys know the city.
Yeah, it's like right next to the lift bridge. There's a little bit of public beach, and then so we had them. They've started a pilot project so that they can see how well it performed, and then they can kind of expand on it. But it's just basically it's a ribbon of rubberized mat that runs out onto the sand.
They didn't do it too far out, did they?
No,
so,
right.
Trial.
It was a really.
It should go out to the water, at least close, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they wanted to do it as a pilot project, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, fine. But
the fact that we got it going,
It's
fine, and it's great, and it's a good start. So hopefully they will expand on it and get more of it, at least or like put a T at the end of it so you can go somewhere
elsewhere. Yeah,
like a hallway to nowhere.
Can't tell you how exciting it was for the kids when Daddy came down onto the beach.
The beach, yeah.
Like they were so excited.
Yeah, that's totally different for them, right? Like otherwise, like they want to play in the sand and stuff like that. Like you probably could just get off of your chair. Do you ever get off your chair into the sand with them too, or just hang out?
I see a lot of people that do, but you haven't.
Yeah, well, I mean, like as you know, man, like, it is tough to get.
It's very tough to get back in the chair
from the ground back up into your chair.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, and I have not been in the gym since like April 2 years ago.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm thinking some of that muscle tone has gone away, and I don't be able to do that until so. Once I get my Bowflex in my garage.
Yeah, we've got it ready to go.
There you go. That's killer, man. You guys, speaking of the garage, you guys got your whole house decked out. You guys were on TV. You guys had an episode going on there. Explain that to me. What was that?
Well, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of. It's a brand new show that came out on HGTV last year called Family Home Overhaul, and we knew nothing about this show, but a friend of a friend had seen like a casting call for it. And basically it was like, do you know anyone who needs a house renovation, who's been through hard times, but does everything they can to help others? Well, we had just done our golf tournament and raised a lot of money for spinal cord
injury. Yes, fit that description so perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had 7 nominations of our friends and neighbors that nominated us because someone spread the word and sent it out, and
it pays not to be a dick to people.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So we had 7 nominations, and funny enough, we at the time. So when Brian came out of hospital, we actually had to sell our house because it was not at all accessible.
Right at the front steps, I've seen the picture.
Yeah.
It's immediately step. Yeah.
So we had, it was a 3-story house. It just would not have worked. And, you know, at that time, we didn't know what was going on, how long Brian was going to be out for, and financially, whether we could.
We actually even tried to
rent
the house out, but there was nobody wanted to rent it. But as soon as we decided to sell it, it was gone in less than 24 hours.
Really? So nobody would rent it, but it was purchased immediately.
Immediately.
Huh. Okay.
So then what happened was we lived with his parents for 18 months in their bungalow in Burlington, in the house he grew up in.
That's trying.
Yeah.
We were very lucky that we were able to do that while we figured some things out. And then, you know, it was really hard to find a house. I mean, for a family that was going to work for us, that had, as you know, you need to have the bathroom was the biggest thing. I found all these
biggest 100% thing for us.
I found all these bungalows that were in our price range, but none of them had the room to work with to
either like a 2-foot wide bathroom door, and then you had no turning radius inside. So you're like, okay, well, that's out.
And then there was a bit of a story to this house. This house is a little old 1940s house on the Beach Boulevard, but it has an extension that's only a few years old that was built onto the main floor with a master bedroom and an accessible bathroom that was built specifically for someone in a wheelchair.
Are you serious?
So there's a story behind that. We knew the people that were here, and sadly the lady that was here passed away. But I knew that there was an accessible washroom. So before they even listed it, I was like, I want to buy that house. We bought the house, but knowing that the rest of it wasn't really accessible.
Yeah, and knowing that we would just kind of pick away at it as time went on.
Because the kids' bedrooms were upstairs, and I was like, oh, we'll just put in a stair lift. And little did we know that a stair lift is like 25.
It is so fucking expensive.
Yeah. And then it wouldn't even work the way the layout of the stairs were in
because it was like did like 180 degrees.
$25,000 so Brian can go take a shit or see his kids upstairs. This is like ridiculous.
I know. So, and then, you know, and the house was all like uneven floors. And so really, I mean, the bonus for us was that this room on the main floor had an accessible washroom for us.
We could work with everything else and pick away at it as we went. But then this TV show kind of fell in our lap. And
literally as we bought the house. We hadn't even moved
we hadn't even closed. Closed? No, we hadn't even closed on the house.
No, we had closed.
No.
Because we
closed in August.
Oh yeah, sorry, we closed in August.
We signed the deals and everything like that, but the house didn't close until August.
So we moved in for 2 weeks and then moved out again.
Yeah.
And we lived in an Airbnb in a tiny apartment with the 4 of us. That wasn't quite accessible. We made it work, but we lived there for 2 months while they did the huge renovation on our house and knocked it all through, made it open plan, put an accessible kitchen in for us. They put a stair lift in, reorganized the stairs, took a bedroom out upstairs, widened all the doors, put a ramp out the front of the house for us. It was amazing.
So when you came back to the house, it was like, it seems like it. What was that show where they would like come out and they turn them around and be like, on your new house. Like,
that's exactly it.
Is that what it is? So you guys are just like,
that was the American
I could totally.
It's called
Home Makeover.
Extreme Home Makeover.
Yes, oh my god, it's like making me sweat.
So
this is so sick.
And then this Canadian one on HGTV, Cheryl Hickey is the host. And then you had celebrity designers. So we had the Brolaws and Mia Paris. If you watch HGTV, you'll know who they are. But they came in, they did this full renovation. It was such an amazing experience. And everything was donated. So like all the kitchen appliances were all donated. All the furniture and decor was from Wayfair.
Holy crap.
Yeah. It was a brand new house for us.
Wow. So did they interview you?
It was very overwhelming.
Yeah.
My mum even flew out from the UK and came over for the big reveal. And we had a lot of our friends, all our friends got involved, and his parents with all the painting and decorating, and doing all the reno and
knocking
stuff.
walls down.
Yeah.
Wow. So they had you
Yeah,
interviewed
it's
on
pretty
TV
crazy.
and stuff? Like they interviewed you and stuff like, hey buddy, holy cow, you gotten big.
Yeah. He's gotten big since you saw him.
Yeah. Hey buddy. Super shy for sure.
Hmm.
So basically when it's a bungalow, so it's all one level, right?
No, the kids' bedrooms are upstairs. So
Okay.
there was 3 bedrooms upstairs. There's only 2 now.
Yep.
In a big common room or a big common area between the bedrooms and the bathrooms, so that so we can throw
a wheelchair upstairs, obviously, right?
So we can throw a like a pull-out couch and stuff there for if people need to stay or when we're allowed to have people over again.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about the house was like getting the master suite with an accessible bathroom, and we could work on the rest of it, and then just having that.
Oh my God! It's like
that thing just fall in our laps was
saved us.
unbelievable.
Well, I mean, we could never have afforded to do what they've done.
Yeah.
They made the house. The downstairs was very choppy with little rooms, and they made it all open plan now.
Amazing.
I'd show you and scan around, but it doesn't look nearly as good as it did on the TV.
No, for sure. Yeah. I'll have to come
On
by.
the EST TV website, you can find us. We're episode 7, I think.
Perfect. Yeah. If I can find it, I'll post a link on the description below. Absolutely.
But it was a great experience, and lots of people got involved, all the community, and
That's awesome. So Brian, me and you went to the same high school. Do you know that? You went to Elgin?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I went to Bateman. So basically, Elgin turned into Bateman after they knocked down Brock and they formed the 2 schools. And then Bateman survived for like 19 years or something like that. And then now they're closing Bateman down.
Now it's being closed and everybody's
Sad.
being shipped to Nelson.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay. Super crazy because they had just put so much, like when I was at that school, they had just put like $3 million into the kitchen program there, tons of money into the shops. Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful school. I loved it.
Somebody at the door.
No worries.
But yeah, no, like there was like lots of there were like the shops and everything like that. It was amazing. I remember like there was a full electronics shop and like a whole metal fabrication with welding facilities and wood, giant carpentry shop. It was great. It was awesome. It's just sad that it's not happening anymore.
I don't understand. So basically, there was a whole bunch of different schools they could have chose. Hi. There was a whole bunch of Hi.
Everybody's coming home now.
Yeah, that's good.
The family, everyone.
That's good. So Claire, you grew up in Littlehampton, England, right?
Yes, I grew up in the UK, and I met Brian when I was 24, working on cruise ships.
Yeah, you guys were both working on cruise ships, right?
Yeah. We traveled around the world a bit together, partied hard, and then got married in the UK, and then I moved to Canada December 2007.
Okay.
And settled over here.
Amazing. Yeah. So what were you guys doing? You were doing lighting, right, Brian?
Yep.
And then you were doing singing?
Well, I was assistant cruise director. I was like Julie from The Love Boat.
Okay. I like that. So how long did you guys do that for?
I did it for about 5 years.
Yeah, same. And I kind of bounced between a couple of cruise lines, but overall about 5 years.
You know what, the cruise is amazing, man. The great money, you get to see so many different things. I wanted to
very accessible as well.
Yes, very accessible for anybody out there wanting to go take a cruise in a wheelchair. Super accessible. When I was in food school,
let me tell you,
what's that?
In the works. I've been a travel agent for 12 years as well, and I looked into a possible cruise for us as a family of 4. But did you know that an accessible cabin on a cruise ship will only hold 3 passengers? You can't book it for a family of 4.
You can't do 4.
Absolutely shocked about that. I can't believe that.
So they wouldn't. You had to book 2 rooms then.
You'd have to, yeah.
And that's way more expensive. It's way more expensive. That's ridiculous. Well, I mean, I think that with you guys traveling the world doing all that, you guys had a great time. Like I wanted to do it. I wanted to do cooking on my cruise ships for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And like that, honestly, I think that I just chose not to because I just love cooking so much and I didn't want to make it like my job sort of and like
I tell you, it would be hard on a ship.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's very hard on a ship.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's more, I would liken it more towards an auto assembly line.
Okay.
Than actually cooking.
Right. Just fucking constantly going all the time.
But I tell you, what a great way to travel the world when you're in your early 20s and have fun and disposable income. It was amazing.
What are you guys up to now?
So many countries.
There you go. What are you guys up to now for work?
I work now and have been for the last 10 years. I work for University of Toronto. I work for one of the theaters on campus as a production manager. So they were amazing throughout that whole period of when I had my accident and was off. I was off for about a year and a half off of work, and they were amazing. I talked to my boss pretty much like once a month, and while I was off. And
they all chipped in. Everyone at the theatre all chipped in and bought him a PlayStation 4 and loads of games. So while he was home recovering, he'd have something to do.
Perfect.
And then very accommodating, welcomed him back and made it as accessible as they could for him, and welcomed him back with open arms and modified his job position. It was like
so yeah, they modified your job position. How did they do that? How does that work for you?
Well, I mean, like, luckily, most of my job is a lot from the organizational standpoint. Although, I mean, like before my accident, I was a very hands-on technical director and production manager. So I mean, like if there was like one little project or something, I would usually take that on myself and do it. But being as that the stage itself is not accessible. I mean, I can't get onto the stage. I just have to modify what I had to do, and everybody that I work with was willing to kind of bend and either pick up the slack or do other things that I can do, and I can then in turn take things off of their plates that they wouldn't.
Okay.
Organizational standpoint.
That's the way to do. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tired, grumpy boy. He's normally the life and soul of the party.
He's tired, eh? Look at him go.
Very tired.
It's first day of spring break, and he's wiped.
Yeah. What's going on with school right now? Everybody's kind of.
Don't even ask. Don't even go there. We just
got the word this afternoon that the kids will not be going back to school after March break.
Oh, okay, so it's homeschool forever. Forever.
God no.
God no.
Yeah.
That's funny. So you're a travel agent, Claire, and you've been for...
No, I was a travel agent.
Oh, you were?
For 12 years. I actually just got out of the travel industry in February last year. I couldn't have got out at a better time.
Just at the right time.
Yeah.
And I now work for the Hamilton District School Board.
Wow, what a switch. What a switch.
I know, what a switch. I was looking for more of a career that I could work around with the kids and stuff. And I started working as an administrator in the schools, and now I work in the head office, but I'm working from home right now as a coordinator for the student foundation. So it's all about raising money for all the different charities to help support children in need within the school board, and all the awards for the graduations and such. It's a really rewarding, interesting job. And
now that you have the kids too, it's like almost as if you could be pretty close to them in that sense. Like, you know what's going on within the school board, and like, yeah, you got the ins and outs of what's going on, so you know what's really happening in there. You're like, oh yeah, I knew this closed down. Exactly. So Brian, you went to Sheridan. You ended up, is that what you took the courses at Sheridan to do what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Wow, man, I love how that worked out for you, and you're able to modify your job in the sense that, and they helped you out, man.
I haven't. I would say it was really good in that, I mean, I managed to maintain a position that I went to school for, and trained for, spent my entire career building towards, and then and not having to have to leave it.
That's amazing.
Trivial as a broken back.
Yeah. For Christ's sake.
And then COVID happens and theaters close down. So like, what can you do?
Great.
Yeah. So that was exactly your ideal career. That's what you want to do. I'm pretty happy that that worked out for you. Like, because when it came to me, man, like I lost my job and there was no position for me. Like my job was, I used to paint lines on the road. Like all the and then so it was in the back of the truck where I'd had to climb the back of the truck and load it up, or you know, even sitting in the back of the truck with the headset. It would take so much for me to get into the back of the truck, and even if I somehow figured out a way to get me into that seat, I would be making everybody else around me do so much more work. Like you had said that you were able to take off work off somebody else's plate to make your job a little easier. That's the only way something like that is going to work, right? Yeah. So
I'm sure there's something out there for you though. Have you looked into becoming, not that it's a paid job, but into the peer support program for Spinal Cord Injury Ontario?
I don't even know how.
So as a peer support worker, which we're actually both we're signed up to do, and we haven't got around to doing the training yet, you would be a person that if a young guy similar age to you was in the rehab or in hospital going through what you went through, you'd be the person who would be kind of like their support worker, would go and hang out with them and coach them and help them deal with coming out of hospital and such. You'd be really good at that.
Remember Rob and Ron?
I remember Ron. Ron.
Well, that's what Ron does at the General. Like, that's what his, or at the rehab center. That's what he was the coordinator for those peer support workers.
Okay.
You know, like when we were in the was it once a week? We all kind of pile into the room at the end of the hallway, and somebody come in and tell you some.
They have different
fascinating information.
Just random, like, I mean, transportation facts, or like you can go get this card to help you do this, or whatever it may be.
Someone came in one day and taught you about financial stuff.
You know what was the worst part about some of those meetings is, the thing is you're just always sad all the time when you're upset in some sort of way when you're in the hospital. So when you get these people into this small room telling them about what their life is going to be like later and how they're going to be doing things, I remember being in those meetings, everybody just been like, shut up, like, fuck off, like I'm not answering, like I don't care, like they were so mad and angry, and like there'd be some people that were very interested in what was going on. I think I was just quiet listening to what was going on, like kind of like, whoa, this is really crazy. Like some of these people are obviously way worse off than I am, right?
You were so
like,
young as well when you were 25?
I was 25, yeah.
That's such a young age to be in the hospital and dealing with all that. I mean, even your age was young, but, you know, it's still it's a lot to deal with. And
the whole rehab area is so old. It's just old people.
Well, yeah, because the other half of the whole building is all like the stroke unit, or
right. That was what it is. The stroke patients, right? So
and the food.
Right. And that was probably why I got so fucking skinny, because I was not eating the food.
Well, Brian did it because I took him food every day, because our friends and community kept making dinner for me because I was at the hospital every day.
Yep.
So everyone was sending food around. We had like thousands of shepherd's pies.
Amazing.
And I would bring in all the leftovers for Brian.
Finally able to start eating shepherd's pie again.
There you go. Yeah. No, the hospital food's brutal, and I think that they just avoid salt and all, like whatever's trying to make you.
Well, I mean, like they have to.
They have to, right?
So many dietary. And things like that. So I mean, like when you have so many restrictions, I mean, like you're a chef or a cook, or you know exactly, you know, once if you have that many restrictions, that only leaves you this
many meals, that
much of a window to stuff to make.
I just thought of a new podcast you should start doing.
What's that?
The Disabled Chef.
It's actually a lot of people have asked me like how I cook, how do I, and I'm just like, I cook, but I just sit down, like I don't know, like people seem so much more fascinated. Bring me with you.
Okay, go around and wheel into the stove.
Let me see your accessible kitchen. This thing's probably so open. Oh my god. See, I was talking about some people in my chat about that whole going under the underneath the
So
the
this was
sink.
part
I never
of
thought
the,
about the stove.
Yeah, so
Yeah, the
this
stove and the
so
sink you can get
the nice
under.
induction top, so that so the footprint or the depth of it is only like that much. So
Okay.
And then like everything's low down, so the microwave's low here.
Oh.
Show them the really cool gadget. Ready?
This is the party
You're gonna
piece.
love this. Excuse the mess in our cupboards, though. Ready? Ooh.
And it's got a fucking LED light.
Oh, that Brian put those in.
I put this.
Oh, okay. Still
but yeah.
amazing. That whole thing comes
yeah,
down like
so-
that.
So you reach everything you need to, and then it's just a.
Because I mean, as you well know, reaching things
Oh my God.
up high and
So
getting to
annoying.
things in the kitchen is just so frustrating.
So you need the long top.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love that air vent too. It looks gorgeous with the wood around
So yeah,
that like
Brian
that.
does most of the cooking.
Yeah, because he can.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That is the type of setup I would need for like a cooking show. That's the type of shit that's
You
sweet.
can come around and film it here.
That's hilarious. What else you guys got going on there? Let me see this bathroom. This is like the
you
piece
wanna
de
see- Let me
resistance.
check and make sure. Okay, hang on. We'll take you into the. Don't know how tidy our bathroom is, but we'll show
I just
you.
want to see how open this thing is.
So this is coming in from our bedroom.
I love the door.
Door.
Yeah.
And you come into our bathroom here, and it's got the full.
Oh, the fold down. Oh, there's like a whole sit down. Oh,
Yeah.
what the hell?
that's-
This is sweet.
That's the commode.
Yeah.
And then Brian will transfer from the commode onto the bench in there.
Yeah.
Nice big shower. Lots of room in there.
Beautiful.
That was here when we moved in.
Oh, that was the addition.
Yeah.
This is the addition at the side.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
So yeah.
Wow, great job. You guys got it scored.
And
I
then
love
our
it.
stair lift that they put in.
Yeah, okay, they did put the stair lift.
Yeah. So here is.
Sweet.
So
How long does it take for it to go up and down?
So are you gonna do a demonstration?
No.
Right, the yodeler.
He
How-
always says the yodelity, yodelity.
Oh, that's so funny from Price is Right. Is that what it is?
Mm.
Yeah.
It's not the fastest thing in the world, but hey.
It gets you up, man.
And then we got the ramp outside as well. Hang on, I'll take you outside. So you come out and there's a ramp.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's gorgeous. I love that.
Yeah, so we got a nice setup here.
Perfect setup. Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
said, as soon as COVID's over, dude, you're gonna come over for dinner. You can cook for us or
Yeah,
not.
there you go. I'll come over anytime. You have a beautiful place, absolutely.
Yeah, we were very lucky. Very, very lucky.
So other than breaking your back, Brian, have you ever broken any other bones during life?
Other than having my nose broken for me, that's about it. Really.
Yeah.
No, no, that was in college. Yeah. Not important. When I was younger, and I was in high school, playing high school football, I had my hand caught between two helmets and shattered a couple of.
Hell yeah. I've broken 2 fingers by just getting it in the mask and trying to pull it out and broke it myself. Like I would try to take my fingers out of this guy's mask, and he had a visor in his mask, and I couldn't get it out, and I just fucking broke these 2 fingers. It was brutal. Just tape it up, play the rest of the game.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
With your
Face
so
mask.
what happened with you was so different to with Brian. So you had multiple surgeries, right?
Yeah, I had surgeries. I only had surgeries to relieve pain. I had never ever had a surgery to actually fix anything. Nothing was fixed or anything like that. It was strictly to install a stimulator so I can have this, and then I turn it on whenever I need it to basically vibrate my leg. It's crazy. Like I can feel pain in my legs and I can feel this vibration in my legs, but I can't feel anything else. It's a weird like insult injury.
Do you have spasms? A lot of
No, my paralysis is
lucky.
flaccid. My completely flaccid paralysis. I don't get stiff at all. I don't. I know some people get stiff or their legs start to spasm and stuff. I don't have any of that at all. I'm super blessed with that. Yeah, yeah.
So when you were told that you would like of your situation, did they say you were complete?
They basically just they were like at never at any point in time did they say complete or incomplete. They just gave me question marks a lot of the time, like not knowing what was going on. And then once
that's the hard thing, eh?
Yeah, the not knowing. So once I moved to the Hamilton General, we had redid every test, every MRI, CT scan, spinal tap. We redid everything all over again with their machines, and they were able to find the scar that was in my spine, which is so my autoimmune disease that happened, it was so severe that it created a scar on my spine, which is essentially like breaking my back. It is such a severe attack on my nerves. It separated them.
Did they say as you get older that it could heal? Or?
I think that they were giving me like a 2 to 3, like they said after 2 years your nerves stop healing as fast, like that's like your plateau. Like Brian was saying, there's my plateau period after 2 years. And then I've heard stories where like cool things happen for people, but like I'm never, like I have the worst luck ever, so I don't never put myself into those type of categories.
So many people tell you, oh, I know so and so.
Yeah, like I know that's not me, man. Like, that's good for them. Fuck that guy. I don't fucking know, man. Like the only thing I have is I have hope for things like stem cells surgery, or there's a similar surgery to this. Instead of putting the strip on the person's spine for pain like sensation, they put it there to bridge the gap where the spine would be, and to hopefully send the signals down to the legs, right?
They did with the kid from
Humboldt Broncos. Yeah, the guy from Humboldt Broncos. His name's Ryan Stratznitsky. I've been following that story for crazy forever, ever since he went to Thailand, paid $100,000 to go to Thailand, get the surgery done. He had stem cell surgery. I didn't realize that there were stem cells involved with that surgery, but I guess the stem cells is to try to regain more sensory over like movement, motor skills. And then he's like playing sledge hockey and shit now. Like he's doing very well. Like I think he was pretty fucked up when he came out of that situation. So I think that the more that they do, like I just think of things like that, like an iPhone. They never fucking buy the first iPhone, right? Wait for everybody else to get the iPhone, let it explode in their pocket on the airplane, whatever's gonna happen, and then you buy the next one, right? Like I'll let everybody else be the guinea pigs for this, but I genuinely think that in our lifetime that this is gonna happen, that something cool could happen for us. But I'm never, like I said, you prepare for the worst, you hope for the best. Like I'm sitting here knowing what I have in front of me, but if this is gonna happen, then cool, I got you. Like that's
so just because it's something that I always remember and I always talk about, and it's me and that I've grieved over, and Brian probably has too. Do you remember the first time anyone, whether it was a nurse or a surgeon or a doctor, said to you the words paraplegia?
No, nobody ever said paraplegia to me ever. Like I never had, because it was just a giant question mark. It was never, nobody, I felt as if, and I think that they felt as if that they couldn't say that. They fucking couldn't maybe legally say that.
Very taboo word.
Yeah, and because I have an autoimmune disease and like you never know what's happening, like it's not clear cut spinal surgery. Fucking, you know what I mean? Like you can't be like, yeah, you're gonna be a cripple for the rest of your life. You can't say that to somebody like me. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm young. A lot of people are like, "No, you're young. You can you're gonna recover way better than most people." But because of like the severity of my injury, it was fucking mental. Like I was able to fully recover from the GBS, the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is what the autoimmune disease was called, but up to that point of that scar. From that, where that scar is where the paralysis is, and that's where all my pain is. I don't have any pain waist up or anything like that, you know what I mean? I think the last thing to recover for me, which was like the biggest blessing of my entire life, was my penis. Like that was the last thing to come back for me.
Yeah. Can you feel your penis?
Yeah, but it's different. Like it's almost as if like there's like a shirt over it. Like it's not as
like it's asleep kind of.
It's just not as potent as it once was. Right?
Gotcha.
I'm not shaking as crazy. Yeah, no. It's not as potent as it once was, but it's still there. I can still easily. I can have kids. I can ejaculate. No problem. I could close my eyes and have and boom right now if I wanted to. You know what I mean? But it happened like I was just sitting there.
Think yourself lucky, young man.
Yeah, very, very lucky. I was just watching House one day and sitting in my living room. There was nothing sexual on, nothing, anything. And it just happened. I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then ever since then, I've been good to go.
Woke up, yeah.
Yeah, there's been no recovery past that point, but I do think that
that's amazing. Though that must have been like, I want to celebrate.
Oh, I felt super emasculated. Oh yeah. 45 minutes in the room. I was asleep, and 45 minutes later, there was just like this. I was emasculated. Yeah.
Now I'm interviewing you now because
yeah, go for it. That's what we're here for.
We go through. Do you use catheters, or are you able?
So I probably like when I go to my urologist, they say I have like 70 to 75% usage of my bladder, which means I'm probably leaving like 20-25% left in my bladder, which is not good, right?
Not good. No.
So I can pee, and like as somebody who's young and I can still feel it. Like I just don't want a catheter. Like the idea of it, everything about it. Like I've done it before. It hurts. I don't like it. It fucking hurts. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people that can't feel it.
Because if you can feel it,
yeah,
you don't feel it. So,
right? You can't feel it. It's just you're just going pee. It's simple as that. You're just getting it done. You make yourself feel better. But because of me, it fucking hurts. Like, and I'm just like, even if I close my eyes, I'm like, oh. Like, so anyway, I just deal with it. I just pee, and I've been told like that my urologist just says, Brandon, if you can just catheter in the morning and night, that's all I ask you to do. I should like probably get
the in and out catheters. Yeah.
So I feel like this is what's gonna happen. Okay, something bad. I'm not gonna do it, and then I'm gonna get kidney stones or some dumb shit, and then I'm gonna have to start doing it, right? Because when I got fresh out of the hospital, I had like clusters, like kidney stone clusters that they had to come in and break out. Like I had to go out, they put me out, and they started like, they went in and they broke apart all these clusters and they surgically pulled them out, and they had to pee the rest of them out for like 3-4 days. Yeah, it sucked because I can feel it. You know what I mean?
Like you're going through enough as it is, right?
Yeah, it's just so many, like it's a good time out here. Good time out here.
People see your story and they see you from the outside and be like, oh, he's in a chair, he can't walk. They do not know.
Right. Anything else
behind the bowel and bladder and all the pressure sores. Did you have any pressure?
I had pressure sores towards 2 pressure sores towards the beginning, and I just laid in bed on my stomach forever for like just because they were on my ass, right? Like I had 2 pressure sores that started out as like a pimple, and then I transferred onto the toilet and it fucking broke it right open, and it was bad from that point on, right?
No one will ever know. If you've never had a pressure sore, like
it's absolutely the worst.
So
goes through.
when I got out of the hospital in the February, I sued pretty much the day I got home, or the next day, because I've been living in such a sterile environment in the hospital. I immediately got the flu from my kids.
Both kids were sent home the day you came.
So it took me down. Like I could not get up out of bed for like 3 days or something like that.
So do you have pain, Brian?
What?
Do you have pain, like nerve pain at all? We take meds for nerve pain at all? Like any sort of pain?
Yeah, I take gabapentin.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, so when you were sick, did you find that was increased at all? Like that pain was like firing? That was happened for me. I got sick one time, the flu.
No, I don't really feel that because I don't have any sensation.
Right.
Much like past the middle of my thigh. So, but the so I was in.
Well, you came out hospital into our bed, didn't you? Into our home bed, not the hospital bed straight away, because we thought you'd be fine, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's the one piece of advice that I would give anybody from who is in the hospital is that
get in the hospital bed.
Take all of the help that they offer you. If they hey, would you like a PSW to come to your house?
Yes.
Take that. Yeah.
Because we thought we had it, didn't we?
Yeah.
and we didn't.
Okay, so in your scenario, you thought you had it as this couple, everything's good to go. In my scenario, I was too proud to take it. I'm sitting here being like, nah, I'm fucking fine, I'm a young kid. I would have loved a hospital bed when I got here. But I also, it felt really good to lay in my bed too. Like when I got there, I remember like deep sleep the first couple of nights in my fucking own bed, but it was on my stomach because my butt hurt so much, right?
Yeah. You didn't feel your pressure sore, but where he was in bed for a few days with the flu, can I just say, flu?
Yeah.
With, you know, being paralyzed in bed, like,
stomach flu, just release.
I had a 7-year-old, a 1-year-old, and my husband all with the stomach flu. Never cleaned up so much shit in my whole life. 100%.
Like, and that's, I have I probably have like 85-90% of my bowels to be able to use that. But like, you know, like I know at night if I'm gonna eat hot wings and pizza, that I should probably not lay in bed when I wake up for a bit. I should probably go right to the bathroom because you never know, right? Shit happens, literally.
No, shit happens. But I mean, you guys have been out of hospital what, 3 years now? You know how your bowels and everything's working.
By now,
Those first few months, and you know, with the pressure sores and trying to figure out all that was like, I mean, that was the darkest time for you. Like you facing that more than the normal.
Did you miss the hospital a bit when you went? Did you miss just how comfortable everything was at first? There was a piece where I like missed the hospital when I left.
I was like that close to checking back in.
Right.
They actually said to me because I was in for my outpatient rehab. I went up to the
no, I went up and burst out crying.
The miracle stairs. They took one look at it and just they went and said, "There's a bed open if you want it."
Yeah. I went upstairs and found the nurses that I knew really well, and they were like, "How's Brian doing?" It was his first day in the outpatient.
And you're like, me.
So, and I just had a complete mental breakdown. I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, and we had no PSW or no help. Then it took us. You came out in February. It took us till April to get a PSW, and we don't have a PSW now.
I came out in February too.
Yeah, and he's very independent now, but in the first, you know, that first little bit at home and trying to cope with, you had those compression stockings and trying to get you in and out of bed and trying to clean you up with your pressure sores and having the kids as well. I couldn't cope with it. We eventually got the PSW coming.
Perfect.
And then for about a year, maybe. The PSW is coming in the morning.
Yeah, maybe. It
wasn't until we moved in here, because living here with this bathroom and everything's so much easier for him.
Well, it's easier for him and it's easier for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's
that was the whole point of having the PSWs come in, was that so that they can look after me
and she can look after the kids.
Claire can look after the kids and everything else.
So you had
figuring all that out was really hard times, and you know, for a man in his 40s and you know, for yourself in your 20s, it's not the easiest thing to face. It's
not fun.
To your pride, isn't it? And
it's about like I laugh a lot, and I try to laugh right. You got to try to like make fun of it a little bit. Yeah, the whole sense of humor about it is great. But like you do have to cry every now and then. Like you do just have to, you know, break down and just fucking have a day, you know, or a night to yourself.
There's less days of that nowadays.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
There was a lot of it. But every now and then, you know, people think that you've come so far, you're doing amazing. But every now and then, you still face the odd challenge, don't you?
Yeah, and a lot of it, and then you do kind of, it happens, it's like less and less now. But I mean, like you do have those days where it's just like,
yeah.
Exhausting, man. Like, am I really sitting here? Like
yeah.
Am I really fucking sitting here?
Every now and then you still have the days like, all right, one of these days I'm gonna wake up.
You just
let me tell you, during COVID lockdown, the first, you know, a big lockdown where we were all at home all the time, you know, any couple lived at home, stuck at home, obviously had their tiffs and just getting on each other's
Oh my
nerves.
God, yeah.
We would have the odd little meltdowns, wouldn't we? And you'd be like, I wake up on my frustration levels up here.
Yeah.
Like with the kids, around the house, and me like leaving shoes on the floor and leaving things around and things in the way that just make his life.
Just grab and whip it against the wall, like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing on the inside, and then you try and being a well-adjusted human being, you can't
do that.
Especially with the kids,
Especially with the kids, yeah.
Every now and then, though, he does have an outburst. And,
fucking right, yeah.
And I have a good cry and look over a few names. And then
So you guys, I can't believe you had to vasectomy and then you fucking. So when it came down to, like, obviously you guys don't want any kids. That was the reason you guys.
No, we've got 2. One of each. We're perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. We're done. Yep. When it comes to having like intercourse, how has that worked down there? How's everything going down there?
It's a trick.
Yeah.
It's a challenge like everything else.
Yeah, we're still very intimate together as a couple.
Of course, yeah.
About that, I'm very open. I think the first year was more Brian as a man and his pride was worrying about how he's gonna perform and satisfy his wife.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was so tired I didn't really care. But we're lucky we're strong as a couple, but obviously we do miss how it used to be.
Of course, yeah. This is what it is, honestly. Like when I was talk to any girl about what's going on with me and tell them everything, like I don't have, like I can get up, but I can't move. You know what I mean? Like you're still going to have to be on top most of the time, right?
Yeah,
so I try to be expressive in the sense like, let's get some toys and like this. Let's have
we've
fun.
got lots of those. We had lots of those before his accident. Anyway,
right, there you go. Perfect. So you guys know what's going on, right? Like the more you bring a little bit more fun things into it, like maybe you find something different that you haven't found before in the bedroom, right? Like I haven't ever really fucked with toys too much. So, and that was something that I wanted to, because I was like, I don't want to feel as if I can only pleasure you in one way. Like this, I feel, because fuck, man, there's so many other positions.
I know. Did you have a girlfriend when this happened? When it happened?
Yeah. She was out the door pretty quickly. She was with me for the first little bit. She really did. I'll give her the full credit. She stuck by for like a lot of the beginning part, and I think that maybe because there's so many question marks, that maybe she thought like I was going to be good at one point or whatever. And I think what she realized,
commitment.
Yeah, and I totally fine. I totally get it. I think her route to the way she did it was wrong. I think instead of being like, this is not for me, we were only together for like 9 months at the time. So like to end something like that, I'd be like, hey, whatever, I can focus on myself, right? But she just took it to, she sort of blamed it on everything else but what was going on with me. And because of that, I was always like, what the fuck is going on? Like I'm trying to figure out what's going on as I'm trying to recover, and it really fucked my recovery up. I remember being in rehab, and the room, like once I switched to Hamilton General, the room that I was in, and this is on my mother's life, look out the window and I see her apartment building. I'm like, this is not a joke. This is fucking insane. So I had my first forever until I changed rooms, not by my accord. I
remember you switching rooms.
Yeah, switched rooms, right?
You had Geordie next to you.
Yeah, Gordy next to me, right?
Gordy,
and Brian had Gordy next to him for a bit too. We all had fucking Gordy as a neighbor. And so I would have the blinds shut forever until I got next to Gordy, and I'd hear Gordy just yelling amok, screaming, swearing, like to ungodly times. Like he'd scream like wrestling, because he was obviously not all there in the head, and he had a severe injury. He didn't understand what the fuck was going on. He was like screaming wrestling moves, like RKO.
That was
like,
heartbreaking.
Yeah. He was like going to, I don't know. I think he ended up being pretty good though. Like he was going to the occup therapy, and he's doing pretty well.
Outpatients, he was doing good.
Very well for what had happened.
It was really heartwarming to see all the people that we were in hospital with developing in the outpatients. Like there was Ryan and Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Mike for a while there, and it was great to see how. I remember I would get really tearful every time I was there, seeing how well everyone was doing.
Mm-hmm. There's a on the darker, sadder side of things, there was a boy there, Sam. Do you remember Sam? He was like my age. He was young, had glasses. He was in a power chair. He was always wearing like Gucci and like really. So he was a younger individual. He actually ended up passing away. I never like looked into it. But a piece of me really worries and thinks that it was maybe like a suicidal thing or something like that. And I really hope that if anybody out there is experiencing stuff like that, like there are people like me and Brian and like that we have been through these types of things, like easily Claire, like even when it comes to wives, to spouses or whatever, like we can talk to these.
I just want to tell you, like you've touched on it yourself, how angry and low you were when you were in hospital. How far you've come is just incredible. You've really grown in yourself and become so much stronger and inspirational by becoming this online personality that you've become with your podcasts and such. It's just so. I bumped into one of the nurses on the beach path the other day, and I haven't seen her since hospital. And we were chatting, and I was like, she said, "You keep in touch with anyone?" I said, "I have to tell you, Brandon is doing amazing." I was talking about you like you were my son.
Yeah, I love it. I love that kind of stuff,
I was
man.
so proud of you.
And like Brian was saying, like it helps to be nice to people. It helps to be nice to people. Why are you going to be a dick? I have a temper, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but I will 100% give
Brian
you...
does too.
Yeah, I will give you all the love in the world, and I will like make sure that you're okay until you turn your back on me, and I'm going to smack you in the head. You know what I mean? Like, I have a temper, and like, yeah, I appreciate you telling me that, and like even just talking about me, because it makes me want to do that more. When I receive messages, random ass messages from people I haven't talked to in a long time, just being like, "Hey man, like this is pretty cool what you're doing," and I'm just like, "Holy fuck, you're watching? Like, okay, you know, like I'll keep doing this. Like, I don't know, like I like it. It keeps me busy, and if I can help anybody, that's awesome, right?" But
and for me, like having this chat today, it's almost like a therapy session.
100%.
Along with our normal lives, but I find it really helpful to talk about the days of the hospital and stuff. I still grieve over that. And I know Brian does. We're very different. He's a bit more closed in. I'm very wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm very emotional. But I like to talk about it because for us.
It was pretty crazy, man. Like that, like you said, like in the beginning there, the 6 West is dark. Like that beginning, that surgery part, it's dark. And like that whole beginning part, it's dark. And I think until you can find yourself some sort of like support line, like I think that, like you said that earlier, that'd be really cool for me to do something like that.
I think you would be amazing at that, to help younger guys. I always remember, and we're still in touch with the family today, when Brian was in 6 West, I had a random message on Facebook from a mum in Waterdown where we lived, saying that she'd seen or heard about Brian's accident on the news or whatever. And she just wanted to reach out, as she had just been through all this with her son. He was 19 at the time, had a trampoline accident, and he's paralyzed from the chest down. Yeah, and he was 19, and he had not long come out of his outpatients program. So I said, "Oh my God, I'd love to meet you." And they were in the hospital checking up on something, and they found us up on 6 West and come and introduce themselves. And I remember that being a really big turning point, because we met this young guy who's in chat. At this point,
he was 19.
Yeah. We had no idea what the future held for us. We knew nothing. And the mum's talking about a lot of stuff when they came out of hospital from her perspective, which was helpful for me. And at that point you were learning all about catheters, and you were still, it was still really unknown, wasn't it? And he talked really openly with you as a guy, and he was probably going through some really, really dark times himself, but he really helped you, didn't he?
You had probably a lot of questions too, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just said, okay, well, it's not quite as bleak as he's just painting a picture out to
you
be
see
in your head,
him out and about, and
so.
That was like that Sam guy, man. Like it's really sad, of course, that he's gone, and whatever made the reason. But I remember I was introduced to Sam when I had gotten that smart drive. Do you remember that little smart drive thing I had in the back of my chair?
Yeah.
So I got one, and I was booting around on it, just kind of learning a little bit. And one of the physiotherapists had asked me, do you want to show one of those younger guys it, just like the guy had shown you it, just how it works? I said, yeah, absolutely. And I remember meeting him and him just having such this like hilarious different mentality, and he had so many questions for me, and it made me want to answer them.
It must have been after we left, because I don't.
It was right after you left, like honestly, right after you left, because we left it. Did you leave early February?
Yeah, February 8th.
I left end of February.
For the longest time.
Right, I left like end/mid February, and it was like towards the end of that where I was just booting around on this thing.
I feel like you had some like leaves though, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
You went off and.
I didn't leave anywhere. I kept getting really bad pain, like debilitating pain, to where like I couldn't move or leave my bed, and I just kept saying like I'm not getting the physio that I need because I keep like being so hurt right now, right? And they kept giving me extensions, and they kept just giving me more time. So I was like, all right. And then even when it came to the outpatient therapy, I swear to God, I set a record, like the amount of like extra time I got with the outpatient therapy, right? Like I spent a lot of time there.
Who was your physio in the outpatient?
I had a couple. I would have to go find my sheet
and
of paper.
Michelle like really stick out for me. And who was the other with the dark hair? Jen?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were so nice. Oh,
I'll tell you who sticks out for me. Emily stuck out for me. She's a very pretty girl.
I think I remember
short blonde hair. She stuck out for me. There's a lot of very pretty girls that work there.
Oh, and to be honest, let's talk about Joey.
Joey is gorgeous. Honestly,
She's
one of the greatest.
gorgeous.
Yeah, one of the greatest people for me. I can't even believe I just remembered this now. One of the best people for me figuring out my life as like a younger individual in this chair was Anastasia. I don't know if you met Anastasia.
Yes.
She was like the tan. She was like a brown tan individual. She was in the pool.
I think she helped you in the pool, didn't she?
Pool.
Yeah, she was amazing.
She did a lot of the pool therapy.
Yeah, she was working with I don't remember
and she
her
actually
name.
sat with us at the gala, I think, or near us.
Right. I don't remember the other girl's name, the blonde girl that was in the pool with her. But she was training Anastasia, and I always had Anastasia with me, and she was the best, man. Like I was able to talk shop with her, talk girls, and
very
talk.
Easy to talk to.
Like talk different things.
Cool girls,
They were cool, and like especially while you're in the pool, you're by yourself, right? You're able to get more movement in the pool than you've gotten anywhere else because it's like zero gravity, right? You just feel so good. If you could take that call, absolutely, you could take that.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Yes,
it's fine.
No worries. We're almost finished up here, anyways. The pool was the biggest thing for me. Not only meeting Anastasia, but like just the movement I got in there, and just being so comfortable wearing. They had like the KFOs in there. Did they put those on you? It was like the leg braces that made it so you could walk in the water. And like I'm like almost like running in the water, man. Like I barely even needed their help at some point in time, like helping. So when I got the out of water KFOs, it felt so good, and that's what we were training on in the outpatient.
Do you still have your KFOs? Yeah, Brian does too. They're sitting in the garage.
Collect dust. The only thing is, I just feel so, and I'm sure Brian does too. I just feel so like by yourself. It's fucking annoying and hard to get them on. Okay.
Yes.
First and foremost. Takes like an actual 10-15 minutes to get them on a good day, and then once you get them on, it's terrifying to do by yourself. Like I did it by myself for a video one time.
You should explain. Oh no, I remember that.
And in the video you see me like go up.
What a KFO is.
I have done it before, but I have to explain it before. So basically an AFO is an ankle foot orthotic that helps people from letting their foot drop when they're walking, keeps their foot from dropping and keeps straight. And when you add the K in the KFOs, it brings it up to the knee. And for those people that don't have the ability to bend their knee or even keep themselves up with their legs, if their legs are noodles like mine, it keeps them straight. And if you have that sort of like turning hip movement, you can get some movement out of it. If not, they're great for getting pressure off your ass.
It was amazing to watch in the physio, watching you guys walk with this, because you'd walk with the walker, but like it was such a strenuous.
I mean,
to get
dripping sweat,
and you would be exhausted afterwards.
I mean, like you do like an hour in the gym, and then doing like your strength training circuit, and then it's like, okay, get yourself ready for this, and then you do like it's about an hour of like when it's all said and done, after getting all set up and everything, and then walk, and the amount that you walk is, I mean, talking maybe 100 feet.
Yeah.
And by the end of that, it's like,
and those days too, in the early days, you still had blood pressure issues.
Yeah.
Had some bowel issues. You still had the pressure sore, which obviously don't have any of those now. But then they were big challenges, weren't they? That made it even harder for that.
Yeah. No, I can definitely say that. Just that place helped me a lot. Even when it came to those things, like they taught me how to like fall with those things. Like I had them on, and they were like, if you fall with them, this is how you get back up. And like they set you up pretty good in the way that how do you get back up. But like in the real world, like you could maybe find something else. Like they just kind of give you an outline. Like if you fell, like this is hopefully the way you get back up.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like in the outpatient, I mean, teaching like how to get back up if you go over backwards in your chair, how to get back up. That's pretty hard, but
very hard. Yeah. You're talking about the one where you hold on the side of the chair and you push with the other arm. Insane. And
would you remember how to do all that now?
Probably not.
Probably not. I'd probably be on the ground. The problem is when we get on the ground, like they lay you down so perfectly, right? Your legs are there, whatever. But the problem is when I fall back, my fucking legs come too. And like, and I'm just trying to, I'm like, fucking god damn it. And you're pushing the legs up, and you're like trying to keep them there, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. Like, dude, these legs aren't staying there like you guys were holding them before. Right? So it's different. It's different. It's a little different, but they set you up for the future. And I loved it a lot. I'm glad. I appreciate them a lot.
Obviously, because of COVID, it's been difficult, but have you traveled much at all since?
I went to Florida. I flew to Florida, and just to try by myself.
Well done.
And it was pretty crazy, just flying by myself.
We've done a couple of trips down south with the kids. The first one was really, really scary. Like the first,
scary.
Very challenging. But you know, they're also well trained on the airport and stuff. And that was something that I really wanted to focus on when I was a travel agent, was accessible travel and having more information out there, because it was hard to find out how it all worked.
You still have connects in a travel agency at all?
Oh, absolutely. And I did some video blogs when we were getting on and off the plane, and to show people how it all worked.
I would love to maybe even just go through you just for future in like the years coming, these next couple.
I passed all my business over and all my clients to a very good friend.
Perfect.
So we're still very much connected.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So, you know, it's difficult the first time, the unknown again, but once you do it, it's.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just like anything. You do anything for the first time, especially when you've hit them like the massive reset button that we've done on how to do like your entire life. And now he's like, okay, well, this is something that we've done thousands of times before, getting on and off planes and traveling, however. But now, now it's way different.
But the planes, you know, you've got the assistance and everything. The planes was the easy part. I found it was like the transfers to and from the airport were hard to organize, and then making sure you get that accessible accommodation.
It was so small, the lanes though. Like I couldn't, like, you're like the first one on. The thing with me was I'm so big, I'm by myself. And when they're like pushing me onto the plane, I have this like little skinny girl behind me pushing me up, and she is like, I'm talking, bracing herself, like trying to get me up the fucking ramp, and I'm like, I'm trying to help her. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know if I just could push this thing, I'd be able to do it, but it's not one of those chairs. It won't. You can't push it. They have to push you. So I'm just I'm sorry. I'm so bad. Like I'm so bad. Right, and then you get there.
You get one ass cheek on that.
When you did that by yourself, who was in charge of putting all your chair down and making sure it got safely stowed? Because I did all that. Like, all that for Brian, and then make sure his bags and everything. I also had a toddler to deal with and a stroller.
I didn't fly back. I drove back. I met a buddy out there. My buddy was in Colombia, and his parents drove from here to Florida where they have family. He flew from Colombia, took the car. They flew to Colombia, right? So he's got the car from Canada, and he was like, well, I'm gonna be in Florida. Would you want to come? Like, we could go out here and stay. So I said, yeah. So I flew out there. We stayed out there for a week. We went to like Universal Studios or whatever the hell. And
did you have accessible accommodations?
No. We had my buddy's boss was like, I have a house out there if you want to stay. We're like, yeah, absolutely not. We're not going to go in a hotel if you got the house. And the house was not very accessible. It was a bungalow, but it was like the bathrooms were really skinny and I couldn't get my chair in. So we went to...
That's always the thing, right?
Yeah, we went to Walmart, bought a fold-up chair, put tennis balls on the bottom of the chair. So then I would, in the morning, he was so cool. My buddy Miguel was so cool. I would transfer onto the chair in the morning. I'd be like, all right, cool. And he would pull me or push me into the bathroom.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And like, so
the things you do, eh?
Yeah, the things you do. I was like, I gotta go, bro. Like, and then it's like, we put the tennis balls on the bottom. That's right. We put the tennis balls on the bottom so it didn't ruin the floor.
We have a really awesome, like, travel commode that we take with us.
That's nice.
Folds down really flat and it's got a bag that goes.
No freaking way.
We take that
and it supports them no problem.
Sorry?
It supports you no problem, yeah.
Wow. Yes, I mean it's probably not the most.
It is what it is.
It's a foldable commode. Yeah, this is wild.
And I'm sure some luggage goons have bent the crap out of it.
100%.
It does what it needs to do when we go away. Because you can never rely on accessible bathrooms.
No, yeah.
Even especially when you go, I would say North America is all right, but as soon as you start getting kind of outside of that, the definition of accessibility is very different.
So my buddy I was talking to
Canada, the first night we got there, we arrived at 3 a.m. because there was a 9-hour flight delay. The accessible room was not available for us. They put us in a regular room. So, I mean, the bathroom was like in a tiny door up a stair.
Yeah.
So get in there.
So when my buddy was telling me about how he went to like Mexico or whatever, he's like, just make sure you bring the ones. You bring the ones, you give it to other people, they'll bring you on the beach for you, they'll do whatever, right? Like you get 4 guys, you give them $5 a piece, right? And then they're gonna take you on and off the beach. You'll be like, look, you took me on the beach, you put me on the beach, you gotta take me off too. Like I'm gonna get the wife I'm gonna get the wife to find you later, and like this $5 bill, it's a currency, right? Like
we did that when we were in Canada. You had some guys will carry you onto the beach and stuff. But what we've talked about being here on the beach, like we've had the neighbors will carry Brian down before this wheelchair path was installed. And I try and encourage it all the time because I want him to be with me and the kids down on the beach. But you find it because once you're carried onto the beach, that's it. You're stuck there. You can't. You're not independent at all.
True. That's pretty
really
brutal. And like the sand gets in your casters. And like, do you ever find that messes up like your wheel? Do you ever take apart your wheels and like new bearings and stuff?
Yeah, you have to do wheelchair maintenance.
We went to where was it? We went to Sharkston, and I had sand in my car and in my wheelchair for months.
Yeah, you can't get it out. You're like, man, what the hell? Like, how is that still there?
It was like 2 years.
That's Mexico sand.
That was a fun story in Sharkston, Brandon. A couple of years, Sharkston just here on Lake Erie.
Yep.
We go every year with the kids. They have an accessible cabin there. It's brilliant. We've been there 3 years in a row now, and we're booked to go again this year. All going well. So I asked the guy how. It said there was on the map. It said accessible beach, but when we get there, of course, it's not accessible.
How accessible is this beach? Yeah.
So, in order for us to find a spot where we could be on the beach, you have to walk quite far down, and there's a lot of like cabins that go back onto the beach. They think they own the frickin' place, right? So anyway, the security guard there and the beach patrol were like, well, you can just drive. If you want to drive across the beach, you're not allowed to, but, we're telling you can drive across the beach, let him out, and then bring the car back. And
right. Yeah.
So I did that. Oh, talk about crazy Claire came out because this woman comes out of her cabin. You can't drive on the beach, right? Like, swearing at me. And I'm trying to point, I'm in the car going slowly. Meanwhile, everyone on the beach has stopped and staring at me. And
For sure, man.
So I'm trying to point at the disabled sign on the car. Doesn't see that at all. I get out the car and she's rambling on. She's coming towards me, pointing and swearing. And I just, again, Brian's chair gets out and I just lost it. So that's like shouting and screaming, mind your own, I'm trying to get him on my husband onto the beach. And then in the end, the security guard comes along in the golf car and has to tell her to back off and explain that it's okay. But they didn't come out of their cabin for the rest of the day. They were so...
Oh my God. Yeah. That's too fucking funny. And that's the same thing we were talking about the parking spots, right? How people will just kind of assume certain things. Me as a person, even prior to being in a wheelchair, like I never really said anything. People will do it. To me, it's like if you're gonna park there and you're not in a wheelchair, I think you know what you're doing. I think you 100% know what you're doing.
All the time at our kids' school. There's 2 disabled parking spots at our kids' school.
Right.
So now they both get the bus, but when Charlie was in daycare at the school, we would have to drop him off. So quite often Brian drops him off or picks him up. And there is always parents parked in those disabled spots.
That's brutal, yeah.
Well, that means I can't park. Thanks.
Yeah. And people don't realize, they were like, there's parking spots on there. Yeah, but I need room to get my chair out.
Yeah, especially with yours. Yeah.
Don't understand, right?
Mm-hmm. You always like, no way you could fit into a regular spot with that thing the way it comes out. Like,
if I really, really have to, I can.
You control it?
I can get my chair in and out inside the footprint of my driver's door.
Okay, okay.
If I really have to.
Okay.
But that just means I have to be exceptionally careful with, and not, either that or I'm going to, ding somebody's door or something like that.
100%, man. 100%. I've come to the conclusion that I'm just going to have to jam and damage my car over somebody else's, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's whatever. This is what it is. That's too fucking funny. I'm going to ask you guys one question. I always do this. It's a would you rather segment, and then we're going to get out of here.
Ooh. Is it a who would you rather?
Oh, okay. We could do that. Okay. I didn't really prepare for that. Fuck. Now I want to do I'm gonna look that up. Who would you rather? I'll look that up. A good one. Who would you rather? You ask me. You ask me while I look this up.
Okay. Who would you rather? Oh God, I can't think of any good ones right now.
I know. Now that you've given it to me here.
Ellen DeGeneres. I don't know why. It was the first one that came to my head.
Okay, Ellen. She's got the moves, that girl.
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy's that big girl, right?
Yeah.
So
hilarious.
Hilarious. I just watched a movie with her. She was like a superhero or something like that.
Yeah, we want to watch that.
So fucking funny. I would slay Ellen only because she's got the moves. She's got the moves. Got nothing. I love a big girl. I love a big girl. I love big boobies. But there it is. But I think Ellen just because she's got the moves, and also she's a lesbian, so I can crack that code. Right? It's not giving me any. I'll give you guys one. Who would you rather, Claire? Who would you rather? Clint Eastwood. It's the old guy, right? Clint Eastwood. Trying to think of who was that guy that just passed away?
Prince Philip.
Yeah, Prince Philip. You would go all over Prince Philip, eh? Did he just pass away?
I'm gonna go with Clint Eastwood.
Why?
Personality, probably.
Why? Isn't Prince Philip like your dude? You're from the UK?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's not touch on that subject.
That's so funny. What about you, Brian? Would you rather? Would you rather?
We're gonna cook dinner soon, buddy.
Let's do Leah. What about you, Ellen DeGeneres or Melissa McCarthy? I want to hear your answer.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Have a cookie.
I think I'd have to go with
a cookie.
Ellen as well.
Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, well, provided that that she brings her wife with her.
No.
Okay. What, Portia? Portia, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, good old
she's quite
Portia.
hot, isn't she?
She's a good-looking lady. That's too fucking funny. Honestly, Brian, Claire, I would love to do this again. I think that there's a lot of stuff that we could.
We've got so much to talk about.
I think there's so much that we can still easily touch on. No problem. How's it going, buddy? I want that cookie. I'm hungry as hell. I would love to. I
really think we should do a cooking show with you two.
I would have fun. Just even just like one episode. Just do it like an episode of cooking. I would come by.
I don't know if there's enough room to get
for two. Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. I think it'd be great to have you guys on. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you guys so much for coming by.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, and let's plan this really again very soon, and we'll talk otherwise.
Keep in touch.
Yes. Take care, guys.
Keep up doing all the good work.
Yeah, I will.